So hey guys, this is the second part of our constitutional bodies series. In this video, we will learn about the remaining constitutional bodies such as the Finance Commission, the State Public Service Commission, the National Commission for SCs and the National Commission for STs and some other remaining constitutional bodies. So guys, stay tuned for it.
Now we move ahead to State Public Service Commission. Like the UPSC, they are also mentioned in the articles 315 to 323. Now here the strength of the commission, it is decided by the governor of the particular state. It also composes of the chairman and other members. Like UPSC, we find that no qualifications are prescribed for the commission's membership, and again only one priority or one specific condition is there, which is that the member should have served in the government of India or government of any state for at least 10 years. If they have done that, they are eligible to become the members of State Public Service Commission. Now, one of the things which is different from UPSC between UPSC and SPSC is the age and tenure. Here we find that the age and tenure for SPSC is 62 by 6 years, whereas we have seen for UPSC it was 65 by 6 years. So this is the difference between SPSC and UPSC. The governor can appoint one of the members of SPSC as an acting chairman for the reasons which are similar to which we saw with UPSC. These were the office of the chairman falls vacant, and second, the chairman is unable to perform his function. Now likewise, the removal of the members of SPSC or chairman of SPSC, it is done with the help of the committee or inquiry which is to be conducted by the Supreme Court, and their decision is binding on the president. Again, their expenses, their salaries, allowances, pensions of members and chairman of SPSC, they are charged on the consolidated fund of India. So again, like we have seen for the UPSC, they are not to be voted by state legislature. Like we have seen, no further employment. This clause is also included for the members and chairman of SPSC. But again, there are some exceptions. So we have seen that if a member of UPSC, he can either become the chairman of the SPSC or he can become the chairman of UPSC. Here also, the chairman of SPSC can only become chairman or member of UPSC. If the chairman of SPSC, he does not get either of these posts of the chairman or member of UPSC, there is no further employment for him. And for the member of SPSC, he can become the member of UPSC or the chairman of SPSC. If he gets this post, if there is vacancy, then he can get further employment. Let's look at what are the functions of the State Public Service Commission. As we have seen with UPSC, UPSC conducts the exam for civil services at central level, all India services. So we can find out that SPSC conducts the examination for state services. They are also consulted by the government like UPSC on the matters of recruitment, on the principle of appointment of civil services, or for making promotions, for claim of reimbursement for legal expenses. As I have told you earlier, the consultation provision is directory and not mandatory. In this case of SPSC, the report which is to be submitted by the SPSC to the governor again presents this report to both the houses of state legislature, and he also attaches a memorandum with this report. And in this memorandum, he mentions the cases where the advice of the commission was not accepted and also the reasons for it, right? But like as I have already told you, there are many similarities between all these constitutional bodies. Okay, so UPSC also was not able to decide on the reservation of appointments or posts. Similarly, SPSC is also not empowered to do that. Also, it cannot consider on the claims of SC/ST while making appointments, which is similar to that of UPSC. Moving ahead, we will look at Finance Commission. Finance Commission of India. It is mentioned in Article 280. Okay. the Constitution states that every 5th year, the President of India has to appoint a Finance Commission, and the Finance Commission consists of a chairman and 4 members, and all of them are appointed by the President. They hold the office for a period specified by the President. They are also eligible for reappointment. The Constitution authorizes the Parliament to determine the qualifications. As we have seen with SPSC, as we have seen with Election Commission or UPSC, the Constitution has not provided any type of qualifications which were required for the membership of all these commissions. But here we find that the Constitution has authorized the Parliament to determine the qualifications, and on this matter the Parliament has created certain qualifications which are to be fulfilled by the members of the Finance Commission if they want to become the member. So what are these qualifications? The first qualification is that the chairman should be a person having experience in public affairs. Just try to remember these words: experience in public affairs, chairman. And the 4 other members, what are the qualifications? A, the first member, he should be a judge of High Court, or he should be qualified to be appointed as one. Second, the second member, he should be he should have specialized knowledge of finance and accounts. The third person, he should have experience in financial matters and in administration. The fourth, he should have special knowledge of economics. Right? Try to remember all these things, because UPSC only asks the questions on these topics which are important and which are different from the regular terms and regular things which are given in Lakshmikant. Okay, these are the points which we have to focus more upon, because these are the things which are a little bit different, which are kind of an exception. Moving ahead. Now let us see what are the functions of Finance Commission. Finance Commission makes recommendations to the President regarding the following. First, distribution of the taxes, like how the taxes should be distributed between the center and the states. Second, what are the principles, like the green cover of a state, like the poverty in a state, like the development of industries in a state. What are the principles upon which the grants in aid should be provided to the states by the center. So the third is the measures needed to augment or to supplement the resources of panchayats and municipalities in the state on the basis of recommendations made by the State Finance Commission. Or the fourth thing, or the fourth function of Finance Commission is that it has of the Finance Commission is any other matter referred to it by the President. It works upon it. We have already seen with all the 3 commissions earlier. We can see that Finance Commission also submits a report annually. This report is submitted by the Finance Commission to the President, and President presents this report in front of both the houses of the Parliament. And he also attaches a memorandum, and these are also presented. In that memorandum, we have already seen. This memorandum mentions the recommendations which were not accepted and also the reasons for the non-acceptance of such recommendations. So moving on to the last 2 constitutional bodies for this video, and the rest of the constitutional bodies we will complete them in the following videos. Okay. So moving ahead, the next constitutional body is the National Commission for Scheduled Caste. Okay. It is mentioned in Article 338 of the Constitution. So, I would like to tell you that this commission or this constitutional body was not placed or was not included in the original Constitution. Later on, after the constitutional amendment, it was included as a constitutional body in the Constitution. Okay. So, let's see a brief history of how this National Commission for SC came into being. So we find that in 1978, government through a resolution set up a non-statutory commission for SC and ST. So in the beginning, the commission for SC, ST, it was a single commission. Later on in 1987, this commission was renamed as the National Commission for SCs and STs. We find that in 65th CAA, 65th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1990, we find a high-level multi-member committee was set up, which was named as National Commission for SCs and STs. In the 89th Constitutional Amendment Act in 2003, we find that the National Commission for SC and National Commission of ST for ST, both of these were bifurcated. Now we find National Commission for ST under Article 338 and we find National Commission for ST under Article 338 subclause A. Now let's look at how the chairman and the members of these committees are appointed. So chairman and the vice chairman, they are appointed by the President of India, and the appointment of the other three members are also concluded or decided by the President of India. The conditions of service and their tenure is not determined by the, as is the case with Election Commission, UPSC, but in this case the service conditions of the service and tenure are determined by the President. Okay, so now let's see what are the functions of this commission. National Commission of SC. Okay, so it investigates and monitors all relevant matters to the constitutional and legal safeguards for SCs. It also inquires into complaints with respect to scheduled castes. It also participates and advises on the planning process of socio-economic development of scheduled castes. It also helps to discharge other functions in relation to the protection, welfare and development of scheduled castes. National Commission for Scheduled Castes also submits a report to President, and President in turn submits it in front of both the houses of Parliament. One interesting thing and one additional thing which UPSC will surely focus upon in this topic is the fact that the President also forwards any report of the Commission pertaining to a state government to the state governor. This is one of the topics on which UPSC will exclusively focus upon, because this topic, this point in the particular topic is little bit different from all the other topics which we discussed earlier. So please make sure that you pay a little bit extra attention to this topic. The governor again, like the President, the governor places this report in front of both the houses of state legislature, and the governor also attaches the memorandum which states the action taken on the recommendations by the commission, and it also contains the reasons for non-acceptance of recommendation. Now moving ahead to the last topic, which is the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. Like the case of National Commission for Scheduled Castes, the appointment of chairman and three members is done by the President of India. The only differences we find in the National Commission for Scheduled Caste and National Commission for Scheduled Tribe is the functions of the commission, and all the other matters which we have discussed for National Commission for Scheduled Caste also apply to the National Commission of Scheduled Tribe. We find the differences between both of them in their functioning. All the other provisions regarding the appointment of the members and what should be their qualification and all other terms, they are similar for the National Commission for ST and National Commission for ST. So we will only discuss what are the matters or what are the points which are different between these two, and the difference, it occurs in the functions of the commission. The function of National Commission for ST is investigate and monitor all matters relating to the constitutional and other legal safeguards of STs, complaints with respect to STs, and also to participate and advise for the socio-economic development of STs. Other functions of the National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. In 2005, the President specified some other functions which are to be performed by the National Commission for ST. These are, there should be some measures taken over conferring rights or ownership rights with respect to minor forest produce to STs living in the forest areas. measures taken to safeguard rights of the tribal communities of mineral resources like coal, like iron, water resources. Measures taken to improve the efficacy, the efficiency of relief and rehabilitation measures for tribal groups which are displaced because of the developmental projects in the areas like Jharkhand, areas like Chhattisgarh. Because of the developmental projects, these tribal people, these tribal groups, they are to be displaced, and the onus is on the National Commission for Scheduled Caste to take measures to increase the efficiency of their relief and rehabilitation so that they don't have to suffer because of this rehabilitation. Some other measures are also undertaken by the National Commission for ST, like to ensure full implementation of the PISA Act. What is this PISA Act? PISA stands for Provisions of Panchayat Extension to Scheduled Areas Act. Now the last point, measures should be taken to reduce and ultimately eradicate or eliminate the practice of shifting cultivation by the tribal groups. And we all know shifting cultivation is the cultivation in which when a land it starts to lose its fertility, what these tribal groups do, they burn the trees, the grass which is present on that land, and they move over to some other place, leaving this place as a destroyed place. And later on, due to the burnt leaves, burnt bark, and other things, slowly and steadily the soil which is present, which was losing its fertility, which had lost its fertility, it slowly again regains its fertility. But this practice, it also damages the environment, and that's why it is mentioned as one of the functions of the National Commission for ST to eliminate and reduce the practice of shifting cultivation. And also the report and memorandum is also similar to the National Commission for Scheduled Caste. So that's it for today's video, guys. I will drop the link of this particular blog in the description box below. You can go ahead and check out this blog, and I will see you in the next video.